Hi, welcome to the pursuit of truth. Just a quick one. I always say that. I don't know why I say that. I don't know what quick is really. It's all relative. um, so I was thinking after I made that last podcast talking about how I'm not English, and I shouldn't attribute myself to that because what it means in it when you look at it in historical terms and even current terms of they're part of the system, the system that keeps us all divided, the system that, will give money to charity to countries, but they're taxing them on interest, and so they're probably giving them 1 billion, but the interest that they're paying back on the loans that they give them is probably 2 billion. So they're always being kept in perpetual poverty and starvation and misery. So I can't be attributed to that. These people that waste their time on and on. Saw recently they were talking on Sky News, and I think it was this morning. And it's funny to think politicians on this morning, but Philip Schofield did give a bit of a grill where they were talking about this debate thing about Brexit. I don't really know why they want to do this live thing, but one of them was saying, I think they were claiming Jeremy Corbyn didn't want to do it at a certain time because he would miss the final of I'm a Celebrity, and Theresa May didn't want to do it because she'd missed the Strictly Come Dancing. They take so long about changing things when they know that thing's wrong. When us people, ordinary people, can see the wrongs of the world but have no power to do anything about it, and those that do have power, write 500-page reports and faff about, and it takes not months. If only it took months, it takes years. I mean, look at Brexit, it's taken 3 years. And I know some of these things are very complicated, and this, that, and the other, in the system, in the game, and the rules that we play by. But it's just, some of it is just ludicrous. So I don't want to be attributed to that. But the ironic, hypocritical or ironic thing about it was that at the end of the podcast, I was talking about, check out my Anchor FM podcast on the English poet. Yeah, so I have because I used to use John Doyle poems, obviously, that was my nom de plume, my pen name. I've already explained that before. And then when I was doing the poems, I thought to use the English poet. And the reason why, thinking that, well, obviously English poetry is well known when you think of Shelley and Byron and Keats and Coleridge and stuff like that. So I thought to buy into that. So that's why I call myself the English poet. Then I started doing these things. And now I've come to the conclusion about not wanting to be attributed to such things. Now I'm a bit stuck because I don't know whether I can change. I could start a whole new one, or I think you might be able to change the link. I don't know whether you can change that because all the videos are linked to that. So I don't know whether that would be possible or not to change. I'll have to look into that because maybe I can just change John Doyle poems or just my real name, H.G. Maguire. The other thing I want to talk about is lies. Now, I know I've mentioned this many times in these podcasts, but I just want to sort of, what was it? Subtle Infinity says the macro, the micro. I don't know which is which because I thought they're both small. But the thing is what I want to talk about is that, when people say, oh, why would people lie and all this, and when you talk about all these things, but I just want to look at the day-to-day things, because if there's lies day-to-day, well, we all know humans lie, but just the things I've come across recently. So as this is my pursuit of the truth, just these things that I've come across, and yes, they may not fit into things like flat Earth or 9/11, this, that, and the other, but I think they all make up a picture of the system, the world we live in, the fact that we live with so many, I was going to say manifest lies. Oh, that's a good title. Maybe that'd be the title. This one, Manifest Lies. I don't know if it makes sense, but anyway. So recently, as you know, I've been looking for houses and things, which is really difficult on low income and universal credit and stuff like that. And coming up with estate agents and this whole business, when you put an offer in, and estate agents, they then will come back to you and they will say, oh, this offer's already been refused previously, and they obviously they want you to up the offer, and of course they have a benefit in the more, I assume, the more money that the property makes, because they get an interest, I assume, out of this. I don't know actually. Well, I suppose the other thing is to keep the property on their books. They must be getting paid for that. So sometimes it might be beneficial for them to never sell a house, because you see these houses, they've been on there for 6 months. You know, I mean, where would that be? And you go to the house and it's like someone burnt it down, or it's a tip. That's another thing, the lies of pictures. They show you pictures that probably the pictures that they took when they moved in. You know, it looks beautiful, or, you know, and then you go to the place, and oh my goodness, the place that we've been to, it's like, did someone just ransack it? There's holes in the wall. You know, they didn't even bother to hoover. There's bits where they've ripped the TV off the wall and there's wood on the floor and stuff like that. And they didn't even think to hoover to sell their own house. I mean, it just, but just the way that you're lied to with pictures, you can't trust pictures. So you always have to look at measurements to make sure that you know what you're getting. And that's another thing, measurements, the live measurements. The fact that they call everything a bedroom, as long as it's got a window, despite the fact that my understanding is there's a code of practice that a bedroom has to be 70 square foot. And most of these bedrooms I've seen, they've been under 50 square foot. So therefore, they're lying, you know, they're not really bedrooms. They shouldn't be classed as bedrooms. They're doing that to get extra money, to say, oh, this is a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom house. When it's not really, it's a closet, it's a cupboard. But these things go on. And, you know, like I was saying before, you give offers, they don't put them through. And I've read on the government website that they are legally obliged to pass on all offers, even up to the before the contract is signed. But they don't even do that. They put sold over everything immediately. But I don't care about that one so much. But I do care about the fact that they're not passing on offers to people. You know, I've got an email where they said they weren't going to do it unless I up the offer. But then where do you go to complain? Because when you go to look at Ombudsman, now they've changed it. Before, Ombudsman, I probably pronounced that wrong, you used to just go to them. But nowadays, it's only companies that are signed up with them. So obviously, these small companies, they're never going to sign up with them, especially if they're going to do dodgy things. And then when you do go to their website and say, well, make sure you make a complaint with them first. Oh, yeah, it's all right, go and make a complaint, and then what? Then they solve it. But then you never solve the real root issue. But the Ombudsman, they want you to do that in the sense that you never come to them and they never have to sort out the problem. If someone's doing something illegal or wrong, if you can go to a government website and they say they shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't need to go and complain to them. You should be going to the Ombudsman, and they should be actually doing something about it, so make sure that they stop this thing full stop. But you see, there's lots of these things that we live in our life, and this is just a few examples that I've come across, where I'm just uncovering so much lies and fabrication and deceit and sophistry in our day-to-day existence. And I'm sure anyone listening to this, they can just think about this, because the thing is, once your mind's open to it, you start to see all these things, the things that you've taken for granted or just accepted as part of the way of life, until you realise, wait a minute, why am I accepting this? Why is it okay for someone to try and pull rank over me? Who are they? You know, we're all equals. Why is it they can break the law and I have to adhere to it? It's just, it gets more and more frustrating the more you go through this journey of going through different stages of a life, of a human's life. And I'm sure if I look back on my past, the things I've accepted and the way I've been lied to, it is terrible, really. But at least my eyes are open now, as it were. And that's why I'm saying this to you. I'm just giving you my few examples. These are just normal, ordinary things. But if you see this, you see the potential of people to lie. Why people lie? They lie because of, well, most of these things are to do with money. Why is it they say it's a 3-bedroom house when it's not a bedroom? For money, for more money. Why is it the agents don't want to pass on an offer even though they're legally obliged to? It's because they want more money, or because maybe they're thinking if they keep passing these low amounts to the house owner, even though the house is probably not worth it, then they're going to start lowering their price. And the other thing about this is, and I think I've mentioned this before, is the sophistry of value of houses. Like, you can go, like in Croydon where I am, I wouldn't be able to find a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom house for £200,000. You know, you were talking about 350, 400,000. The same house. It could be exactly the same house. It could be built by exactly the same people with exactly the same things inside. That house in Croydon would be worth, say, 400,000. You go to Eastbourne or Brighton, it'd be worth maybe 200, 250. You go to Dover, you can get a 4-bedroom house in Dover for 190. If you go to Manchester, I'm sure it's even cheaper. The same bloody thing. I mean, how stupid is this world that we live in? How crazy do we accept things, that we accept this kind of lunacy, you know? Where the same thing is more expensive. And what you're paying for is what you're paying for London. You're paying for the proximity to London. You're paying for all the amenities that are around. But why would you, I mean, then there's another thing. So that's another lie, the lie of how properties can be sold for different prices, even though they're intrinsically exactly the same. The other thing that we accept is the fact that why is it we live in a country, I'm just talking about England now, and I'm sure this is happening worldwide, but obviously my experience is here, where London is the hub and all the other places that are obviously, because you can look at the value of the houses, why they're more expensive in London. The closer you get to the central of London, I'm sure it would be £1 million for the same 2-3 bedroom house. So why is that? That's because, well, London has got everything in it. It's got all the money, it's got the jobs, it's got the nice houses, it's got everything nice. So how many years has London been like this? So they never thought of building up the rest of the bloody country. How stupid is it? Why don't you have Londons everywhere? I.e. so Manchester, Liverpool, Dover, Eastbourne, Portsmouth, Southampton, where Scotland, Edinburgh, wherever you want to say, Aberdeen, Wales, Northern Ireland, whatever. A bit tricky on that one, but you know what I'm trying to say. Why is it that it makes no sense to have a country where you only have a real hub, unless there's some benefit to it, but for the intrinsic, all of us, it'd be better that everything was like London. Well, not that everything is expensive, but everything was built up and everything had everything, so you wouldn't have to have these higher and lower prices. But this is all done on purpose. That's what I'm saying. I can see, how it would be ideal, and I know I'm a bit of an idealist, but it seems to be, I'm pretty sure that it's being kept this way. And I'm sure if you speak to someone in Scotland, they will definitely say that, because they see the worst of it when they get their certain money that they're being given. And they're always complaining about London money. So that's another lie that we're living with. The fact that the central is kept, so it never gets overtaken. And nothing will ever get near it. And yes, they will develop other areas, but it's never the same, is it? Because people do move out of side of London. I know that if I went to Manchester or maybe Liverpool, I'd get a much better house than I can in around this area for a lot less money. Why is that? Is it because there's less jobs there, less opportunities? If you look at the ratio of how long people live, it changes despite being in exactly the same country, ruled by exactly the same people. Come on, wake up, everyone. This is, and me too, but the problem is, what do we do about this? Revolution. No, but something has to be done. We can't, sometimes I do think, why am I wasting my time talking about these things? Because even I'm not changing them, but my hope is that at least by doing this, even though some of it is maybe pointless or some of it is not even accurate, the sentiment of what I'm trying to say hopefully opens people's minds to think about these things, and there'll be people more clever than me, more able than me, that can run with these things. Because otherwise we're just going to be listening to Hollywood, we're going to listen to BBC, we're going to be listening to all these people, keeping people in this cage. Why is it I'm so incensed about it? And the people with power, with authority, the people who have jobs, celebrities, the BBC, people who work on there, people who are writing dramas and science fictions and things, are not trying to change people's mindset about the world that we live in, the injustice, the inequality, not just in England and the UK, but in the whole of the world. Day to day is still happening. And I do wonder, the day I die and I'm doing a podcast like this, will I be saying exactly the same thing? And I think I probably will. It'll probably be worse for people. And I fear for my children and my children's children, everyone's children, that we all see this stuff, even those people who are not really sort of awake to all of this stuff. Even the ordinary person who is still following the system can still see the lies and injustice and inequalities all around, but nothing is done about it. Sometimes I think, humans are so I don't think I've got enough verbiage to say. Anyway, take care, take it easy. God bless, and peace.